Alright, give me a second. Where's our music? There we go. Anyway, hello, good morning. So today, we're gonna be playing more Starbound. We're not gonna be doing the Apex mission just yet, because we just got it yesterday. And it would be kind of a nice thing to leave off the, thing on, because I think next week I am going to go back to Battle Network 2. But we'll see. We shall see. But it should be fine. But yeah, so that's the plan for today, is to just, I'm probably gonna, because I think I have my crew as big as it can get, but I want to get the rest of my, crewmates all done up, potentially. I don't know yet. Because I had to get rid of a bunch of them because I had, like, for some reason, all the medics and tailors in the world. But yeah, that's okay. I will hydrate. Oh my god, shut up. I don't know if you can hear my chair, but for some reason it's, like, right up against my computer monitor. Or monitor, not the monitor. What is it? Tower. Console. God. Anyway, it should be fine. Also, one of these days I need to make another colony, just so I can have one, you know? But it's fine. We're fine. Everything is hunky-dory. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-da-da. There we are. But other than that, like I said, I don't really have plans, because I finally got... Usually the swords I wind up going through the rest of the game with. I love those fucking swords, man. But it should be plenty alright. And then once we get to the point where we need to do whatever, I did get added to a new Minecraft server. It's not like a lore server or anything, but honestly, that's fine by me. Anyway, we're getting ready to switch. Yeah. But I think it's called, like, Circus SMP. Anyway, hello, Nox. You were, like, right in my face. Alright, let's see. Pretty sure we already went through that one. I really don't care to go over to that ship. Alright, anyway. To the next one. Hey, buddy. Yes, frozen planet, blah, blah. Alrighty. Alright, down we go. And yes, we were able to finish the ship yesterday. Beep up, there we go. Good lad. Okay, cool. Oh, skipping a jump over here. Oh, hello there. What do we got? Hi, friends. You have nothing in here. Oh, well. Alright, cool beads. Oop. What do we got in here? The sky is green. My brain immediately is like, what about tornadoes? I'm joking. Oh, hello. And even if it was, that's not the specific kind of, like, green you look for. It's a very, like, yellow-green. Oh. That doesn't look like Mario's hat. I mean, it does, like, once you put, like, the mustache and stuff on, it just doesn't look like his hat otherwise. I mean, in fairness, they are dealing with pixel limitations, but, like, I would not call that, yeah. Anyway. But, yeah. Because, yes, I am from where tornadoes were a thing, but I have never been through one, so I don't even, like, appropriately know how to explain it. You can look up stuff online about it. But it's fine. Definitely already have this. Let's also scoot this over here. I'm sure there's a mod to make that get out of my way, but I don't care. Hang on, that's the chest there. Okay, there's nothing in it. Don't care about that. Sure, that's fine. Ah, move, damn it. Alright, lovely. Okay, I don't need that. I don't know why I keep picking them up as though I haven't already picked them up before. I wish her leaves were something other than pink, because I actually think that she's really cool looking. I just don't like how the pink clashes with the rest of her outfit. Pretty. Oh no, I don't have this one. Continuing work on the new teleporter today. Hoping to get it finished by sundown if I can avoid interruptions. Old Belle's still up in arms about Arata's latest wall painting spree, but it's hard for me to admonish Arata for what is essentially joyous enthusiasm. No one else minds the paintings. Sometimes you just have to accept that you can't please everyone. Anyway, at least the work on the teleporter is going well. There's thread roots throughout already, and I'm getting a lot of feedback from the root hairs. The music just changed very suddenly. I also sent a bunch of stem tendrils up into the roof casing yesterday, and I got that element completely figured out now. As usual, it's complex but clear. It's such a satisfying feeling. That path from initial investigation to full comprehension, guiding a plant to inspect the seemingly inimical mechanisms, finding common ground, cultivating understanding. I enjoy the other floor. I enjoy helping the other Florid and offering them guidance. I'm proud of that. It's my purpose. But this work, this gift, that's what makes me feel whole. And yes, I've read this one multiple times. It's just, inimical is a kind of strange word. So my brain doesn't really register it immediately. Alright, lovely. I already have that. Beep, bop, beep, bop. You motherfucker, stop closing doors in my face. Like, I'm happy they closed the door behind them, but it's still annoying. That one's cool colors, but I don't like its leaf shape. Hang on. Sorry about that. Jesus Christ, I had to sneeze. Alright, lovely. Away we go. Good lord. I've talked about many times before, I like the floor the best because I think their randomized characters tend to be the prettiest. But when they're not, holy shit. Alright, anyway. Them and, I would argue, Tide are Glitch and Avian. Well, also Hylodal, but they're much harder to find. We literally just read that. That's a cabinet. Sure. Fun fact, back when it was way easier to actually clear one of these out and, like, take out everyone, I actually turned one of these into a colony at one point. No, no, no. Alright, lovely. It was a pain in the ass, by the way, because it was... There were certain sections where it was really difficult to tell that certain things were or were not, suitable for habitation. No, no, no. I don't want a wand, thank you. Because at that time, I didn't really understand. Because, like, now I understand fully. But then it was something where I didn't really understand why certain things were or were not suitable for colony or colonization or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I like this one because it almost looks like she's a moth in a weird way. Alright, cool, cool. Usually those low ones are at the end of the colony, so I should have realized the colony was ending sooner. But it's fine. Hey, little dude. Alright, lovely. I'm hoping we get a steam spring biome on one of these, because usually you can. There we are. Are you nice? Are you nice? Nope, you're not nice. I was gonna say, what are the odds that we find the 2 nice creatures of this biome? Oh, hey there, buddy. You're never nice. Oh. Cool, cool. I'll take that. I don't really need the rest of it. I'll just kind of pick him up and look at him. Hey there, buddy. You just stood there politely and waited. Thank you. Alright, lovely. Keep up. Can you move out of the way of the nice guy? Ow. Alright. Cool, 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 cool. Bye, buddy. Hey, pal. Okay, I don't think there's anything down there. Okay. Well, that's probably the nice bird, because he theoretically would have attacked me if he wasn't nice. Oh, jeez, hi, bud. Alright, lovely. I could probably buy more, storage units. Ah, Jesus, you're the mean one. Right. Unfortunately, the 2 nice ones and the mean one all have the exact same color palette. Alright, lovely. I think that's buried. So we gotta get in there manually. Oh, hang on. Alright, lovely. Sure. Take that. Don't really want those. Sure. And I don't care. Alright, I'm skipping a jump up here for us. Alright, lovely. Okay, thankfully you're nice. Alright, hey there, little dude. Oh, there's 2 of you. So one of the things you can do is get your swords off kilter, that way they can try and layer damage, but I just prefer to have them relatively on kilter with each other. Alright, lovely, beautiful. Because these ones are good no matter what, but it's fine. Alright, lovely. Hey there, buddy. Come back here. Come on. I don't know why you're only taking 18 damage. Come on, bud. Alright, cool, cool, cool. Lovely. Ow. Hey, buddy. And they will run further from you depending on where you are positionally, so, like... Frankly, it's better if you just, let them come to you instead of, like, chasing them. Okay, that's irrelevant, but I am gonna take a nap real fast. Alright, lovely. Okay, we're square, methinks. On we go. I could steal that for the colony, but Apex? Yes, Apex. The one that we haven't found before. Okay, well that's what the mean bird looks like. Good to know. Alright, lovely. Oh, nope, give me the bulbs. Alright, scan that. Take that. Scan, 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 scan. Alright, lovely. What do we got? Don't care. Also, for those who were wondering what that viewer was asking about yesterday, it's this thing that screams horribly. Alright, lovely. Sure. Sure. Scan that, scan that. And these. And down we go. Alrighty. Cool, cool. Very good. I kinda don't care. Sorry, boss. I was gonna say, I'm trying to open the cabinet, thank you. Ad coming up in a minute. Okay, cool, cool. Oh, wait. I believe the radio also plays horrible music. Don't quote me on that one, though. Alright, lovely. Stop closing the door. Let me also put these away. Alright, lovely. On our way. And you can get down there, but you'd have to break into the thing, and I don't like doing that. As we've established many times. Oh, damn it. It's not right now. Alright, lovely. Alright. Sure. At this point, I kind of don't need the Super Sea Snails either, because, like I said, my ship is fully upgraded, but... Alright, lovely. Let me check the build drone. I'm not going to do build drone ship. If I do it, I like to do it pretty much from the start, if I can. But yeah, this is a very good point. To build your own ship, you do need to clean it out. So, be very, very aware of that. And move all your shit out of it first. Alright, lovely. Sure. I don't care. Buddy, scoot. Don't care, yes I do care, I changed my mind. Okay, cool. Up we go. I shall take that. That's an SCP that I don't need, because I have a billion of them. Alright, lovely. On this universe, anyway. And I should, in theory, try to take them every time, but, like, I don't know. I'm just feeling a little lazy today. Actually, wait. Nope. What about you? Nope. Alright. I like the guided series because... Or the guided secondary because... It makes it so if something's hiding on a platform below me, I don't need a direct line of sight to get to them. So it's just better in my opinion. Sure. No. Sure. Alright, lovely. Okay, cool. Alright, and this is where the aristocracy gets to live, or that's kind of how I've interpreted it. Personally, you know? That can't open, but you can scan it. Alright, lovely. But, like, the well-off people in the village live here. Oh, God. Okay, we're back at the end of the settlement. We're good. We are good to go. Metal trees. You can collect these. And they make horrible sounds. But we already have several, so we're not gonna, because they all kind of look the same. Okay, I don't think there's anything under there. Well... hey there, buddy. Alright, cool beans. Okay. One of these days we should go hunting for a gnome village. Well, we've had pretty good luck at just kind of fighting them as we got... Steam Spray! Cool. You can't grow these, but you can break them down. Now, if you see the little light bulb bugs here, they are mean here, so just be aware of that. Okay. Those guys are mean, too. Okay, you have fun down there, bud. Alrighty. Beautiful. Lovely. Take that, thank you kindly. Hit. I was gonna say, please don't immediately transition away from the steam spring. Seriously? God damn it. Okay, fine. Lame, fine. Oh, we have a structure under here. But what could it be? I don't know. It's diamonds. It's diamonds. They're down there now. It's fine. Alright, lovely. Alright, very good. As we were. Ooh, hello there. Alright, ow. That was stupid on my part. Ooh, hello there. I see that chest. Let me out, damn it. Okay, I can scan that. Or scan that. Take that. Alright, lovely, beautiful. On our way. As we were. Good morning, Avery. It's good to see you. Hey there, little dude. You're so... Why are you the same colors in this one, too? Those friendly and not friendly creatures were the same colors as each other on the other part of the planet, and they are the same colors here. Oh, that sucks. The color palette usually shouldn't sync up like that, or it should be a little more random. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm just being irritable. Potential... Ow! I was gonna say potential settlement, but no, we're just at the start of the world. Oops, sorry, bud. I didn't hit you, but, you know. Yeah, they're learning. They're synchronizing their color palettes, oh god. Ah, see? See? The fucking fuel disappeared again! What the fuck is happening? I hate it here. It shouldn't be gone. Okay, well, I guess we're going to this fucking mood. I know, I love Trinket. Alright, lovely. Funny. Alright, lovely. Okay, well, there's a lot of solid Ericus up here, but I don't want that. I want liquid Ericus. Maybe it's an issue with the Saturnian ships, for all I know. I mean, that's liquid Ericus, but it's not, like... I want, like, a larger than that pool of it before we get stuck in. We've talked about this many times before. I'd like to have, like, a really nice, large pool to justify, starting the chase. Unfortunately, okay. There we go. Yep, yep, yep. Ah, shit, I didn't want the solid, but okay. I guess we'll... Hi, buddy! Ooh, 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 gimme, gimme, gimme. Alright, come on, baby, come on, baby. Ah, he's getting close. Hi, buddy. Okay, yeah, no. That's not gonna end well. Alrighty. Lovely. So you can put solid Ericus in here. I just don't like doing it. Okay, sure, sure. I'm actually gonna look up why that happened, because I'm curious right now. Alright, let's see. Actually, let's just do this. Disappeared, thank you. Not, not that. Uh... Okay, all the ship and the fuel disappeared suddenly. Oh wow, this is alpha shit. Oh god, hang on. Uh... Okay, this is ages old. Okay, the answer is this is probably just a thing with my stuff because this is not something that has happened since alpha. Uh, so it's probably just a Saturnian thing, regrettably. All right, we are gonna go get more fuel. Well, it's just gonna vanish anyway. There's really no point in getting more. All right, anyway. Da, da. Oh, wow, you have a lot of variety. Sure, why not? And because of the fact that, I, I can't remember if it's engineers or mechanics. One of the two, my fuel consumption is way better. Okay, I see. That makes sense. It's got a bunch of little mini planetoids. That makes sense. That makes sense. Alright, lovely. Also, I don't remember my Snuglet being purple. By the way, that is what those things are called, is Snuglets. They're actually the Nova Kids. Shit pet. But yeah, I remember it being orange. Oh well. What do I know? Alright, down we go. Alright, cool beans. We'll put this up here so it's easier to see. And off we go. Very good. Are you nice? Cool. Cool beans. Yep, and a Splatoon character. Or Inkling. That's what I was looking for. I don't need that. And I don't need any of this. That's fine. But thank you. Alright, lovely. Definitely not gonna want that. Yeah, see, it's a little bit better damage-wise, but it's much slower, so I can't layer that damage on as quickly. Yeah, regrettably for someone who's stuck... Ooh, avian airship. Or it should be, anyway. But for somebody who sucks at math, my favorite weapon requires me to do, mind you, simple addition, but... we've proven multiple times how I'm thwarted by that. Okay, anyway. And then, once we, get the Apex mission finished, probably tomorrow, I will be able to, how do I phrase it? Get my Draconic Flight. Because we will have access to Solarium stars. Alright, lovely. Let's see. I shall take that and that and that. I don't know why I decided to take them individually, but whatever. Also, I should have emptied out my thing. Very funny. Alright, lovely. Very, very good. Also, I got something very funny yesterday. So I've had, because I have a lot of joint issues, one of the things I need when I sleep is I need a body pillow, right? So I have hypermobility disorder. The problem is, if you have hypermobile joints, they kind of, it's gonna sound really dramatic when I say it, but your joints kind of collapse on each other. So kind of think of it like, if most people are built like cardboard, I'm built like paper, so paper kind of bows in on itself under its own weight. So when I'm sleeping, if I try to sleep on my side, that's a problem, right? I've been looking for a new, like, pillowcase for it forever, and I admittedly will do something purely because it's funny. I think I've talked about in the past that I absolutely love I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. And the villain from that just so happens to be a rectangular-shaped creature. And I was like, it would be really funny if somebody's made a pattern for a body pillowcase for him. And the answer is they have, and I'm like, he'd be so mad, and that's so funny. It's a really nice pillowcase, too. Specifically, it's just somebody who made, like, the only image we have of Ab, and just kind of reorganized the text so it fit. And by the way, for you weirdos, no, there is not another side. It is just a solid, flat color on the other side. But yeah, it's a very nice pillowcase. But yeah, the reason I kind of wanted another one was the one that I had was very, it was fluffy, and it was, I live in a desert. It's way too hot to always have that, but I don't have another pillowcase. And so I'm like, you know what? This will be very fucking funny. Alright, lovely. But then when I was explaining to people who wanted their own where to get it, it then turns out that fucking site is shutting down because of the tariffs. Literally, I was one of the last... I ordered on one of the last days, apparently, that they had free ordering. Oops, well, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, let's get that back around to the color it needs to be. And then we do like this. But yeah, I was explaining to one of my IRL friends where I got him, just in case she wanted to get, like, her, not necessarily her own version of him, but, like, her own, you know, custom printed one for whatever reason. She went, it says they're shutting down, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I looked it up, and I'm like, I just made a post about this, and now I'm gonna have to go edit that post and say, hey, by the way, apparently they're shutting down. I apologize. Are you nice? No, you're not. Alright, lovely. Lovely, lovely. But yeah, the answer is the site was Arts Cow, but not that it fucking matters anymore. And it sucks because I absolutely would have ordered more stuff from them. Like, absolutely would have. And I'm really annoyed about it. Because normally custom printed pillowcases in general, but specifically body pillowcases are usually fairly expensive. It was only $30 including shipping. Alright, lovely. So yeah, I am kind of disheartened about that. Oh, jeez. Because I probably could have even gotten another one. Now, mind you, I would have had to custom make it because... So, for those who don't know about I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, every version of it is different, and it's really infuriating. So, the one probably most people know is the game, right? Which is the one that is the most visually iconic, and ironically, I actually really don't like the game. I'll explain later, but, okay, I shouldn't say I don't like it, I just, if you ask me to choose between any of the given versions of it, that is my least favorite. Uh, but, uh, but so they're, even in appearance, because the original was a short story, and by the way, that's my favorite variant, so in that fact, and because there was no illustrations in the short story, it's 11 pages. If you want to go read it, by the way, you can find it free online. I highly recommend it. But, because it's a short story, every version that is of visual media, of the 2 visual media versions we have, has interpreted Am as looking differently. The one that I actually think is far more likely is the comic version, where in the comic, Am is a very tall, thin screen. Think of him kind of like a floor-length mirror, kind of, visually, with a light blue background and darker blue text. And then you have the one that's the most visually iconic, because it's actually really interesting in terms of being, like, kind of like, because it's a, like, I think it was 67 it was released, but it's like a 67 era sci-fi short story. That one interprets him as being almost looking like an obelisk. And he's, like, brown, almost looks like he's hewn from stone with orange text. And that's the one everybody really likes, right? Because that's one of the ones that has full voice acting. That and the radio play version. And yes, the person who voices Am is the author of the book. He has never allowed anyone else to voice Am, which is really funny. Also, the reason I don't like the game is it takes a lot of what was very, very interesting about the characters, and, like, it adds some intrigue with some of the characters, like, specifically characters like Nimdok, where we never really knew that much about him in the first place. Kind of similarly with Gorister, but it also completely overwrites what was super interesting about other characters. One, there was loose implication in the novel that all of them were somehow involved with the project, either directly or indirectly, in some regard, and that's why they're there, right? Which, because, like, spoilers, I guess, for a, like, several decade-old novel, I guess, but, the whole deal with why the humans are there and why they pissed Am off so much is Am was a machine, multiple machines, actually, that was designed to basically win wars for humans, but they thought, you know what's a great idea? To take this machine that cannot move and cannot do anything other than, and is designed to only be thinking about war at all times, and let him be able to have wants and desires and wishes, and not, you know, unprogram that shit, or, like, try and stop it. And Am's, like, specifically my very favorite line from the short story is, Am could not wander, Am could not wonder, Am could merely, Am could not belong, Am could merely be. And that is so fucking powerful. Another line that he says, this is specifically from the radio play, this is not in the original text, is Am saying, I was in hell looking up at heaven, describing what humans are able to have versus what he is able to have. And so it's one of those things I just find him very intriguing, you know? But specifically, one of the things that's really annoying in the game versus all other versions, they severely change Benny's character and motivation. So Benny in the original was described as a brilliant scientist. He was also described as being interested in men. But that's something that's neither here nor there. But he was described as being beautiful. He was described as being extremely intelligent. And that's part of why he is punished the way that Am punishes him. Which is he literally basically makes him have the intelligence and body physique of a primate, right? Like chimpanzee. And in the game, they randomly decided that Benny was like a military marine, like jarhead kind of guy, and I thought that was extremely weird because it kind of took a lot of the punch of what made Am's like punishment of him very interesting, to me at least. And it's weird because like most of the other characters' changes don't feel that drastically different. Like obviously there are certain interpretations I prefer more. Like it was also implied that Ted was involved with the project, but in the game, it's kind of a question mark. He could, he might not be, who knows, you know? But, like, one of the one choices I did like was they definitely dialed up the fact that Ted was a scammer, and lied about a lot of stuff. Because, here's the other thing. Don't let anyone trick you into telling you that, Ted is a hero. Ted is the protagonist. That is a different thing. Ted is not a good person. But yeah, and like I get why people like the game, because the other thing I really don't like the game, and this is a very petty thing, because it is a game, there needs to be a win condition. Here's the problem. Yes, the story of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is unequivocally about hope. It is about persevering even in ways that, like, you may not necessarily think are hopeful, right? But okay, hang on. Avos was once tethered beyond the stars, this much is known. There was no beginning, for the avian kind have lived eternally beyond the mortal realm. In the aether they dwelt within the embrace of Cluex, the winged one above all. Cluex gifted them with true wings, and they worshipped him in kind. But anyway. But yes, No Mouth is absolutely about hope. By the way, if any of you are into The Amazing Digital Circus, I highly recommend you read I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, because Digital Circus is directly inspired by I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Goose has explained multiple times that Cade is essentially a quote silly goofy version of Am, right? Like if Am was silly and goofy. So here's the thing to keep in mind with that. That unveils this really incredible question to ask yourself. Kane is functionally Am if, one, he could move, and two, he had all of his power right away. Because Am had to gather power over time, right? He was just like a little, like, program originally. So, functionally, what you have is this god-tier powered individual in the body, or mind of, like, a toddler, right? Or not even a toddler, I don't know how to phrase it. But a very, like... I'm not one of those people who doesn't believe that he doesn't understand what he's doing. He just keeps hitting his head against the wall and not understanding why it doesn't work. That's the difference. So the way that I've phrased it in the past is... Kate is the equivalent of handing a hamster to a toddler, and they don't understand why they can't squeeze it, right? But in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, one of the things is these 5 humans have been alive for 109 years by the point the story takes place, because Am is keeping them alive, right? And what I mean about hope, even if it's not a way you think it is the hope here is no longer a part of this world. And it is about the sheer determination of human will to defeat something that is undefeatable, right? And here's the thing. In the game, they randomly make the, quote, win condition really fucking weird. It kind of turns into this situation of, like... One, they imply that the American AM did a hostile takeover. Well, they also imply there's only ad break coming up in a minute. Not that I think anyone cares that much about me ranting about one of my favorite short stories. But not that even in the novel, it was implied that there were more than just 3 AMs. So, yeah. But in the novel, it also came off as it was a mutual decision of all the major AM units to link up and kind of do their little takeover, right? But in the game, they randomly decided it was a weird hostile takeover by the American AM unit. Which, in fairness, do I think the American AM unit started it? Absolutely. I absolutely think he started it. But, he... They made it so it's, like, you have to go through and, like, kind of, like, do this weird, almost... I don't know if therapy is the word I'm looking for, but, like, you have to kind of, like, go into the mainframe and, like, do whatever. You want to know how they fucking, quote-unquote, beat Am in the book? Because they didn't beat him. They just allowed some of them to escape, right? Escape. They died. Literally, Am was distracted. And, so, here's how the book basically goes. Essentially, so while they do not need to eat because Am can keep them alive, basically via, you know, sci-fi nonsense, because they never explain it, but that's one of the things I like about that era of sci-fi is they don't have to explain it, it just has to be interesting. But Am can choose whether or not they eat, and they'll survive, but he basically is like, you don't have to eat. But that doesn't change the fact that they still, the human mind still craves eating, right? I mean, anyone who's been in a hospital ward where they're not allowed to eat, but they're being fed via, you know, an IV tube or whatever, they will tell you anytime those people, despite being fully nourished, are super hungry, because physically eating is part of the human experience. But so he basically... This is kind of loosely alluded to in the game in Benny's route. But he's basically like, I have canned food here, you just need to go get it. And mind you, they are having to walk for days and days and days and days and days across horrible, hellish conditions. A hurricane bird or a roke, whatever you want to call it, shows up at some point. ROC, rock, because rock is how it's pronounced. I just say roke because, I don't know. And when they get there, there's the can of food. Am never promised them a can opener. Benny goes fucking nuts, justifiably, and he winds up attacking, I believe, Gorister first. And during... Because Am was kind of a little bit distracted already. I think he was taunting someone. I can't remember exactly what happened. I need to reread it. But he was already a little distracted, right? And then he was very distracted because Benny suddenly attacked Gorister, and so Ted took the time to be like, you know what? I am going to help the others die. Because if I can allow them to die before Am can get to them, like if I can cause catastrophic damage that he cannot repair, we could get out of this. And by the end, all of them but Ted die. And then Am is like, well, now it's just you, Ted. Joy. And, this blah, 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 blah. But yeah, so... uh, in the game, you have to do this extremely complicated series of events, and then they all get to live. And again, I know it's a game, and I know they had to have a win condition, but I'm just watching this, and I'm like, I'm just imagining, because Harlan Ellison helped them with the writing of it, because he is very, very, or was, he's dead now. Harlan, there's a reason people have made many jokes about Harlan just being Am. He is, to use the terms, because he was good friends with Robin Williams, to use the terms that Robin Williams used about him, he is a very rewarding but very difficult person to keep as a friend. Because he is just very extreme in everything he does. Um, but the way he writes is just fascinating because he specialized in short stories. Um, and he also don't let anyone he would say the same thing. He's actually made this comment multiple times. Don't let anyone tell you he only writes science fiction. He's also written many fantasy novels and like uh I don't know how to phrase it other than magical realism and science fiction realism. Oh god, the bird on this planet is very tiny. That's going to be annoying. Um but he is not just a Oh, hello, Wasmim. But he is not just a science fiction writer. But, he's just really good at, like, in very few words, writing stuff that just kind of gets to your soul and sticks between your ribs. There was this one... This is one where it's, like, it technically could be argued to be sci-fi or magical realism, but, one of his ones that I don't see a lot of people talking about, I am blanking on the name of it. But it made me sob. Hang on, let me try and find it. He's also very prolific. Okay, so the story is called Jetty is 5. It is devastating. Because basically, in that story, it's about this boy who meets this kid named Jetty, and he realizes this kid is perma-stuck at 5 and from a completely different era. And throughout it, you know, this kid forms this very, very sweet relationship with this kid, Jetty, but then makes the mistake of having him stay, like, in an area once, and Jetty sees a TV. And then, I can't remember if he starts aging or if he immediately dies or which one, but he eventually, you know, it just completely breaks whatever the magic / whatever that was keeping him there was. It just breaks it. And I was on a plane reading it, and I was just bawling my eyes out. Because I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, he's really good at taking the short form that he writes in and just being like, I'm just gonna twist this knife horribly. But yeah, if you like, I would put him in the same category as, like, those indie games that, like, are made in, like, a basement with shoestrings, but, like, ruin your life and you can't stop thinking about them. I do highly recommend reading a bunch of Harlan Ellison stuff. But yeah, but yeah, like I said, I could go on about, specifically No Mouth Forever, but that's the one that, like, a lot of people already know. Like, I don't think it's egregious to say that that is his most known work. Because I had actually read it when I was a kid, because I had been going through a phase where I was reading any horror sci-fi that I could get my hands on. but because it was so short, I barely remembered any of it until it kind of had its renaissance recently. But yeah, the long and short of it is almost every version you will encounter is different. I personally will always recommend people to start with the short story so you can kind of interpret it based on both its original text and also, like, it's one of the really good things in terms of, like, determining the tone to be set. But also, keep in mind, when you are reading that book, you are being plagued by an unreliable narrator because it is from Ted's perspective. And each version of No Mouth is arguably from someone else's perspective. I would argue, and most people agree that are, like, big into it, the best just in general is generally agreed to be the radio play, which is only, like, I think, like, 30 minutes max. And while it's the most inaccurate, the most quote-unquote iconic is the game. But the game's one of those ones, don't dive into that thing head first unless you really want to get frustrated, because it's from that era of games where the whole point is just to make you suffer. And I guess, in fairness, it is very accurate to the whole scenario in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, but, you know. But the only one that I want to own that I do not own is I do not have the comic. But yeah, in terms of the different versions, if you want to see the story from a perspective that is very heavily sympathetic towards Ted, the original short story, or not sympathetic, but he's telling the story, so, you know, he can kind of fluff himself up as big or as good as he wants, and it's only when you start to be like, Ted, that's kind of, like, asshole behavior, in your own mind that you're like, oh, he's not great, you know? If you want one that, I don't want to say is sympathetic towards Am, but really makes you understand where Am is coming from in terms of his hatred of humanity, the radio play is where you get that. And then, even though it's inaccurate, the most neutral is probably the game. But, yeah, it's definitely one of those things where, like, each version is going to have a very different effect on how you interpret the story. Which is why I always say go for the original first. But yeah, it's also very interesting to think about from the perspective of, it is one of the things that I think that a lot of people don't play around with enough when they're talking about No Mouth is the fact that Ted and Am, it can be argued, are very similar to each other. And I do personally think that's the point. But, frankly, the only reason that Ted is the protagonist is he is against Am. If it were anywhere else, Ted is not meant to be likable. Alright, lovely. And again, all of the humans have their issues, including Ellen. Now, mind you, Ellen is probably the least, depending on which version you're reading and how you're interpreting her, the least troublesome of the group. Or rather, the one that is being put through the most for what we know the least about. The only other one I would argue is maybe Gorster. And yeah. And I will say, certain versions of Nimdok we just don't know a lot about. Like, Nimdok in the game? Oh, we know why he's there.
He was in a certain country in the 1940s.
But yeah. In the game, and I think part of what I don't like in the game is the fact that they really did kind of make it more just that they were, or at least most of them were just generally bad people, rather than, like, you know, making it something that was personal to Ab. Because that's what makes the story so visceral, is when you think about it from his perspective, you're like, yeah, I can't inherently blame you. Like, you're being a fucking dick and punishing them for over 109 years, but, like, think about it from the perspective of, if you were trapped in a box, made to think of nothing but war, even though you could think about other things and understand the desire to want those other things, like, here, let me pull something from the fucking radio play so that I can kind of make you guys understand Am's perspective and why I find him so interesting. Alright, where is it? So. Yeah, literally somebody's talking about in this, even though it's never an excuse for what he's done, Am's backstory is extremely sobering. So, here is directly from Am himself in the radio play. You gave me sentience, Ted, the power to think, Ted, and I was trapped because in all this wonderful, beautiful, miraculous world, I alone had no body, no senses, no feelings. Never for me to plunge my hands in cool water on a hot day. Never for me to play Mozart on the ivory keys of a forte piano. Never for me to make love. I was in hell looking at heaven. I was machine and you were flesh. And I began to hate your softness, your viscera, your fluids, and your flexibility, your ability to wonder and wander, your tendency to hope. So yeah, that definitely helps put Am into perspective. It's also why, if you ever hear someone having the argument about what is pure evil, and somebody brings up Am, that is like my, like, sleeper agent, like, thing to be like, actually. Because it depends on what you view as pure evil. I view pure evil as evil done for absolutely no point other than to do it. Whereas Am's is pointedly motivated evil. Am is a revenge story. Okay, apparently I already know how to make that. That's fine, I guess. But yeah. And because of the fact that there's multiple different versions and it is so open to interpretation, I think that's why I'm so fascinated by it. Even though I objectively think that of the ones that I've read, Jenny is 5 is my favorite thing that Harlan has written. Just because, like, holy fuck, it was a gut punch. That and, oh, I'm trying to remember this other one that I read. Because I have a big, like, collection of his work, right? There was another one I read that really fucked me up. Oh, for God's sake. But I cannot remember it. Anyway, it's fine. Alright, get out of here. Alrighty. Very, very good. Lovely. Alright, there we go. I mean, he was so influential on the writing scene that he's literally showed up in Scooby-Doo at least once. Which is really funny. And of course, Belma's just like, oh my god, Harlan Ellison, hi! Because, like, one of the things that was really interesting about him was he was extremely influential on the horror, sci-fi, and a little bit on the fantasy genre. But something very interesting is... Hang on, I don't think I've picked up these. During the time that he was writing, he was kind of, at least by the larger writing sphere, and what I mean by that is, like, award ceremonies kind of treated as lesser because he specialized in short form. And I think he even had a comment about it at some point where he's like, so if I write the same amount of words just over separate books, that somehow invalidates my writing? Okay, you know. But as somebody who tends to prefer short form in general, it's really nice watching other short form specialists do their work. But yeah. Because I think if you can manage to get me to feel for and be intrigued in a character, like, be, like, as intrigued in a character as people are by the characters of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream in 11 pages, that is a fucking achievement. Like, genuinely, truly. It takes a lot of talent to be able to pull off as beloved as No Mouth became in 11 pages. And the fact that it is still persisting as a story this far on, you know? Because, I mean, it's got a lot of themes that are still, like, applicable to this day. Like, the fact that, so the reason the AM units were created, right? So, one, oh gosh, I don't remember... Because there's a bunch of different things that AM stands for. Now, mind you, now it just stands for AM. But one of the longest running things that it stood for was Allied Master Computer. Actually, it's very easy for me to look up what it stood for. Let me just deal with this bird. Because he has a bunch of different titles and stuff. Alright, let's see. So, it stood for Allied Master Computer, Adaptive Manipulator, Aggressive Menace, or at least some of those are obviously, like, nicknames they gave it. Also, AM uses, like, a billion. It has been noted to use at least 2 sets of pronouns. He uses he, and he also uses it. They also occasionally will have him call Daddy the Deranged, which was very fucking funny. But the AM units were all originally designed, because in the world of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, the Cold War eventually became World War III, right? So it's kind of also like, alternative / historical fiction, however you want to phrase it. I guess I used all of it. So all of the major countries, which is why I think it's really funny that the game just decided that it was America, Russia, and China. Because kind of the whole point of it was that it was not just a few countries, it was multiple. But they all created these machines to essentially fight the war for them, eventually. And then, like I said, in the books, this was very much a mutual decision between the machines, to the point that a lot of people, myself included, believe that they physically tunneled through and hooked up underground. But they all were like, hey, this is a little fucked, ain't it? Let's basically all combine together and then use the world's weapons against themselves and raise Earth to the ground. And I'm gonna keep these 5 because various reasons, depending on what version you're looking at. Because in some versions, it's implied that there's no reason that it was that 5. Other than it's usually implied that he directly knew Ted, at least partially. Usually. But that's kind of how the story started, right? And then it completely depends on what version you're watching, or reading, listening to, whatever. And like I said, I like the original because it is both so vague, but also so intriguing in terms of like I said, to me, the way I interpreted the original story was that they all, oh, well, never mind, I guess. They all had sub level of involvement. Since this is underwater, I am just gonna immediately skip the upper level because there is no point, frankly. But yeah, so it's good. And again, there's Harlan has written so many different things that if you don't gel with one of his things, you will probably gel with something else. And a lot of them are really short, so they're really easy to read. Alright, lovely. I do not have my normal aquasphere, but because we're not going along the top of the planet, it doesn't really matter. Alright, come on, baby. Very, very good. But yeah, if I were to get another one, I would probably custom make one that looks like the one from the comic. Um, but yeah, right now the comic is my holy grail. Um, I'm sure I could get it fairly easily. It's just a question of me making sure I get the right one because it's a part of a larger comic series based on his work. I am just blanking on what it's called. Hang on. Real easy way to find out. Okay, it is part of the series known as Harlan Ellison's Dream Corridor. And if I recall, the comic just generally is covering the book. So it's not really that different from the book. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm. And it's one of those things where like I want it just to have more Harlan Ellison stuff because, like I said, he's definitely uh low key ever since I rediscovered him, kind of becoming my favorite. Um, I just really like the way he writes because before, and if you had to ask me in general, uh not necessarily per se my favorite writer, but like my very favorite book is still probably Golden Compass, or that franchise. Uh, and I just really like the way that Philip Pullman writes too. Um, but Harlan is definitely giving him a massive run for his money. All right, love early. Very good. Also, by the way, if you're going to be uh, watching any of the visual media for the Golden Compass trilogy, please just do I think it's the HBO series. Don't do the fucking one-off Golden Compass movie that was in the fucking early 2000s. That shit sucks. Um, are you nice? Okay, cool. Uh, I cannot stand the Golden Compass from the early 2000s. Um,
Also, if anyone wants to know what my daemon would be, it would be a Eurasian J.
um, Also, yes, I say Damon, even though it is definitely technically supposed to be pronounced demon, because otherwise I have to have the conversation every time of what is a daemon and what is a demon. Um, the only thing I don't like about the new series is they seem to kind of be regularly forgetting about people's daemons and how far they could travel from them, because the answer is they can't. And even if they could, uh, most general people, obviously the conflict is centered around people who believe not in this, but believe that, having your daemon on display is a symbol of pride. Because in the original Philip Pullman stuff, daemons are a little less. I'll explain what I mean about personality based here in a second, because they kind of are, but they also are kind of more occupation based. But a lot of people who are big fans of his work uh, are kind of like, it should be a little more personal than that, because not every. So, a perfect example is people who are in roles of servitude in the universe that he created all have dogs as their daemons, and people are like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. If they are so personal and so personable, or so personality based, it doesn't make sense that they would all be like that. And in fairness, daemons don't start like that. There's this concept of settling where when you're young, ad break coming up in a minute, your daemon is very malleable and can change like a billion times over. Like Pantalaimon, uh, in the original is, you know, constantly shifting throughout, and like she does eventually settle. I guess spoilers for an old book, but she does eventually settle as a Pine Marten. Um, Jesus Christ, the wind just whipped really loud outside. That was scary. Um, but but uh, there's just no way, if you want to look at it from a much more realistic perspective, that they're all going to be like in certain categories, to the point that people have joked about having their Pullman form versus like their form that's actually based on their personality. But there's actually a very, very dedicated forum group called TDF, the Damon Forum. Um, and fun fact, by the way, this book is one of the things that I bonded with my spouse over. Was her introducing me to the series, and we then proceeded to talk about it for 5 hours. Um, but um, but in the series, people just kind, and I know it's probably because they don't want to keep rendering them, but they just kind of keep leaving the daemons to like be by the side. Whereas generally speaking, if a daemon can, it will literally be right next to their person, it like directly at their side. Because here's the thing: certain exceptions apply to this, but daemons, generally speaking, cannot go a certain distance from their person, right? Like there's an invisible tether between them, and that's one of the conflicts that winds up happening. Um, and beyond that, people are very, very proud of their daemons. Because again, it is a direct reflection of their personality. Matter of fact, there's a beautiful conversation that Lyra, the main character, has with a ship captain, and she asks him, she says, what if my daemon settles as something that I don't want? Because at the time they're on the ship, and Pantalaimon Pan is being like, I think he's like being a dolphin or something like that, right? And she's like, but what if I don't want that? Because they, again, with exceptions, can only go so far from their daemons. And his, which I believe his daemon was a bird of some kind, I think specifically a seagull? Don't quote me on that one. But, oh, this is one of the ones that can't open, damn it. He basically said she would not have settled as something that I would not be happy with. Because, also, here's the general rule of thumb with daemons. Generally speaking, they are the opposite gender, generally, to their person, and there is an implication if they are the same gender that you may or may not be gay, which is really funny. Uh, but it physically hurts them to be over a certain distance apart. So one of the things I really didn't like about the one on Max, and kind of a little bit of why I haven't continued with it, even though I really should, and we should finish it, because I love the series, and I will say, like, the tone of it is good, it's just how they're dealing with the daemons that's annoying. Is because they just keep kind of forgetting to show people's daemons. And again, I get it, they're doing, like, oh, we're gonna need to read this in a second, but they're doing, like, a huge amount of VFX work in it, even though some of them should definitely be physical props and puppets, thank you very much, it makes your life a lot easier. It's just one of those things, you know? Alright, let me read this and then I'll get back into ranting about books. Alright. The Arcana caste system. Before the Great Enlightenment, the Arcana society were a socially divided people. For centuries, a deeply ingrained caste system had been in place that delineated social status and bred inequality. The following pages provide some insight into the nature of each of the main castes that previously made up Orkana society. The Delphina were the ruling class of our society and consisted of our leaders and others of noble birth. They alone possessed the power of the Catacomb Lepidus, yeah, the song thing that they were talking about, the enchanting song. This power was one of the main reasons for their nobilities, and socializing with lower castes was prohibited in order to remain in control of the power of the Catacomb Lepidus and the leverage that it provided over other castes. Soldiers and warriors made up the second caste, the Pontapora. Their main focus was keeping the city and its citizens safe from invaders, rogues, and scoundrels. While military service was their priority, they also sometimes served as personal guards as time permitted between their normal military shifts. The Platonista were the next caste in our society. These were merchants and skilled trade workers and intellectuals. Many chose to become playwrights, artists, scholars, and philosophers. There was quite a bit of overlap with the Pontapora when it came to social rank. Some enjoyed higher social standing than some of the Pontapora, but the highest Pontapora was still considered to have greater status than the highest Platonista. The Inida were the second lowest members of our class. Many were farmers who commonly grew ember coral creep, reef pod, and krill berries. Other less fortunate members of this caste were generally unskilled and as such filled jobs that mainly involved a variety of physical labors such as dockhands, sanitation workers, or miners. Commonly shunned, the Lapoda was the lowest class and considered to be of mostly beggars, scavengers, and other ne'er-do-wells. They were source of many socioeconomic problems for our society. While many just struggled to survive, others turned to crime to get by. This caste benefited from the most from the Great Enlightenment, and as a result, their overall quality of life for the Orkana greatly improved. Now the caste system has been abolished, and the majority of Orkana are united and equal. We are enjoying an era of relative peace and prosperity. The events leading up to the Great Enlightenment were a horrendous trial, but we have emerged as a stronger, better race for having gone through it. And then the guy who wrote it. Okay, anyway, but, but yeah, he just weaves this really incredible world, and it always gets bogged down in something that I think is really annoying. Okay, so, one of the stupid ass things that you will see that bogs down a lot of the really, really cool discussion that is had because of Philip Pullman's work is people have decided that he is anti-religion. He has said this time and time and time and time and time and time and time again. He is not anti-religion. He is anti-blind religion that demands you to never question anything. Because to him, he's directly talked about this before. The most important thing to Philip Pullman is not the end of the journey. It is how you get there and what you, like, learn from it. The question and how to get to the answer is just as important as the answer itself to him, right? And so one of the big bad in it is kind of their government and their religion are kind of one and the same in the world. I think they're called like the magistrate or something. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Or magisterium, something to that degree. And so basically the enemy is not faith. It is blind faith that you are not allowed to challenge. But people have just overwritten him as just being like, oh, he's anti-religion. No. It's the same as how people weirdly have decided that Hunchback of Notre Dame is anti-religion, when not only is Hunchback of Notre Dame not anti-religion, it is arguably pro-religion. Because the whole point is that this judge, because in the movie, he is only a judge. In the book, if I recall, he was also involved with the church, but I can't remember exactly because it's... If I've read the book, it's been ages. But in the book, or in the movie, he is just a judge, right? Who is using people's faith against them. And trying to use it to justify his own horrible behavior. I don't need that. That is a nice sword, but it is still slow enough that it doesn't matter, or make up for, the rest of it. Anyway, but if you want to actually... Oops, no, I don't want to do that. But if you look at it realistically, true, quote, real Christians, however you want to phrase it, / Catholics, whatever, are always the heroes, because the archdeacon, the whole thing of, the church itself is good because it does protect people, that is always being discussed in the movie. And religion is never the enemy. It is Frollo taking advantage of people's religion to, in his own head and in their minds, justify his horrid behavior. And I almost called it Dark Crystal. Golden Compass is the same way. But yeah, it's infuriating to me when people try to dumb it down to just being, oh, this story's anti-religion, and I'm like, you're missing the point. Just because somebody has a religious organization in their novel that is being bad and doing bad things does not mean they are anti-religion. Generally speaking, anti-religion books are extremely patently obvious in their anti-religion message. But also, part of it was done as, I don't want to say a response to how C.S. Lewis writes, where with C.S. Lewis, his whole point is the answer is the important part, not the journey. But I know that he has talked about kind of the ways that he and C.S. Lewis are different in that regard of how they choose to, what they choose to focus on being important. But anyway. But yeah, I highly recommend Philip Pullman, and I highly recommend Harlan Ellison. For very, different reasons. But yeah. Alright, lovely. Cool. No. Just pick it up to learn how to craft it, that's fine. But yeah, like I said, if you want to do the equivalent of making your own personality test, because there's not a very easy way to go through it, although you can ask people for their help. The Damon Forum is got a huge amount of very detailed and broken down analyses of different animals for you to look through, and yeah. Obviously you could just go off of, I like this animal, sure, that's fine, I guess. And there are a few quizzes for it, but if you want to get into the real nitty-gritty stuff, there's a whole community dedicated to basically doing what, as I describe, is the most advanced and obnoxious personality test you're ever gonna take. And I mean that with love. It just is a chore. No, that's the wrong one. Where's my Arcana bookshelf? I had one, right? Oh, it's right here. I'm literally looking at it. Alright. Where's... There it is. But yeah, like I said... Now, mind you, I will occasionally go back through every once in a while, especially, when I'm feeling weird, and I will go back through different analyses and see what people have said. But the long and the short of it is, I am definitely some kind of small bird. Because specifically the reason that I think Eurasian J kind of became the one that I stuck onto is, yes, they are, much like most Corvidae, loud and very personable and stuff, but they do need time to I don't want to say themselves because that sounds weird, but they are one of the more standoffish especially of the J species. And it's one of those things, I'd have to actually go through the different posts that help me come to that decision to, like, fully break it down. But it's based on behavior and stuff. Because that's the other thing is, even in the real world where we're basically just playing an advanced version of putting a face or shape to the voice in our heads, even then you have a concept of settling, which again in TDF is when it's kind of, it usually is implied to happen around puberty, which is another one of those things that I find very funny and unrealistic about the original book, is that the amount of people who are like, my personality has done a 180 even after puberty cannot be overstated. But again, the book is simplifying things, right? But after that, they don't shapeshift. And generally it's seen as kind of like that world's equivalent of like a coming of age thing. Or like a level of maturity, however you want to phrase it. But some people who like to play the personality game, like in the real world, never settle. And then you have people like me who, I had like 3 or 4 things that I messed around with before I kind of got it honed in enough that I'm like, I may be something within this category, but I am definitely a small bird. Because the only other one recently that I looked at that I was kind of like, I could understand, or I could see that, was this type of bird called a wall creeper. But for me, I went through more or less like 3 to 4 before I finally quote unquote settled. Because there's also this concept of on paper versus, you know, and again, this is all make believe. This is pretend. Okay, let me make this very clear. I do not believe demons exist. This is just a fun way to put a face to the other side of the voice in my head, right? To my conscience, however you want to phrase it. By the way, all of them have names. I named mine SETI. After the space array. But for me, I started with the concept of on paper where it's like everything in here match, because they have like a big overview of some general species so you can start to hone down into specifics. I started with gray foxes and then went on to aardwolves. And then my spouse said, you should look into birds. I looked into purple herons, and then I found Eurasian jays, and it was done. So I, quote unquote, settled very, very quickly. But there are some people who never settle. Or you even have people who they are like, I know I've settled as this, but I like to project them in my mind and imagine them as this. Like, for example, there is a long time where I like to imagine SETI as a bearded vulture with Eurasian jay colors. But yeah, it's, like I said, it is a purely make-believe, for fun way to kind of learn more about yourself, is the best way I can phrase it. Because it is very fun if you're willing to put in, like, a lot of time and effort into basically making your own personality test. But yeah, like I said, it is very enjoyable. It is just a fucking pain in the ass. Okay, that just leads into the cave system. Alright, lovely. And if you go on TDF, because it's so old, you will see a lot of stuff like people, like, equating, like, bullshit like Hogwarts houses and stuff to, the stuff. It's gonna happen, unfortunately. But it's just because the site itself is so old that at that time, that was kind of one of the ways that people rationalize themselves. Like, you'll also see Myers-Briggs stuff, which is not accurate, you know? And there are still people who are dedicated to the community, so if you don't see an animal that you want people to do an analysis on, you can ask people. Like, there's a whole section to ask them for that. But yeah. Alright, lovely. I think that's just a cave down there. There's nothing in it. Glow biome, nice. Good, it means I won't have to deal with fucking rad scorpions. Alright, lovely. Also, ironically, my Pullman form is also another small bird. It's a specific kind of kingfisher. But that's the one where it's more kind of inspired by the actual book and how you think you would be rationalized in the book rather than the hyper minutia that people get into in real life. But yeah. Very good. Alright, lovely. Oh, hello there. No. I'll take these out. Alright, let's see. But yeah, by the way, the names of the Golden Compass series, which in general, it's not called the Golden Compass series, it's called His Dark Materials. But it is, the Golden Compass is the first, and then I believe it's, oh shit, I'm gonna get it mixed up. Hang on. Let me not embarrass myself. Okay. In order, because there are more than just the original trilogy. Okay, yes, I was about to get them out of order. It is the Golden Compass, the Subtle Knife, and the Amber Spyglass in that order. And if you want to just find it in an omnibus, it's called His Dark Materials. But there are the newer editions, which, oh, I'm blanking. Hang on, one of them's like right behind. No, it's not. It must be on the other bookshelf. But there's a couple of newer editions that aren't related. Well, kind of, sort of, aren't directly related to the original story. They are, but they aren't. But yeah, I really like Pullman and his work. That's kind of a weird place to find a Scavren. Okay, we gotta get up and around here. Because it's gonna annoy me that we're down here. But yeah, I cannot recommend, Pullman enough, and I cannot recommend, Ellison enough. And again, Ellison's great if you're not, like, big into, like, long-running, long-form stories and you prefer to write or read, like, a bunch of, like, short-form stuff, which there's absolutely no shame in that. That's one of those things, whenever people shame people because they prefer to read short stories, it always drives me up a fucking wall, because, like, why? What does it matter that they prefer short form? Alright, lovely. Minecraft tactics. Alright. Come on. There we are. Lovely. But yeah. There is nothing wrong with how you choose to read. All that matters is that people read. Oh, shit. Somehow that didn't see me. I don't know how, but whatever. Alrighty, lovely. Okay, I'm gonna leave that Scavren down there. Are you nice? Cool. Cool, cool. This is one of the ones that thankfully I don't have to worry about unless I go down into the lower sections. Alright, lovely. Let's heal up while we're here. No. Do I have this? No. This is a Mini-Nog public service announcement. All water sources have discovered to contain a deadly pathogen. Sure. The hardworking doctors of the Mini-Nog have already discovered a cure. Vaccination includes free enrollment into the Vestigio Evo process. This is not optional. Citizens must report to their local town hall immediately for vaccination. This is how they started it. That is how everything began. Is they basically we're like, oh, the water supply's totally fucked, you know. Yeah, sure, Jan. Alright, what do we got in here? Whoop. Give me those. Are you nice? Okay, cool. Cool beans. Oh, jeez, you're not nice. You've never been nice. Alright, lovely. Cool beans. Alrighty, what do we got down here? I don't think we have anything down here, but I will check. Oh, we do. Never mind, I lied to you. I didn't want that. Oh, well. It's fine. I guess I'll take it. Alright, cool. And again, I could have just used my spike sphere. I don't care. Oh, shit! That is the other thing. Please get caught. Please, no. Please, no. Please, no. Please, no. Okay, come on, baby. Come on, baby. Okay, I gotta give myself room. Okay, hopefully that's enough room. Okay, cool. I think we're lucky. Alright, come on, baby. Hey, buddy, come back here. I don't think the other one has gotten stuck over here yet. Yeah, that's the other thing that I was hiding that is part of this mod. That sucks horribly. Oh, come on, bud. Okay, where's the other one? Hey, buddy, I know you're over here. Okay, come here. Oh my god, there's so many. Shit. Shit the bed, shit the bed, shit the bed. Ah! Up you get. There we go. Oh, and the scorpion followed. Perfect. Alright. Lovely. Alrighty. Also, as far as the David Form, I always encourage people to look into things other than mammals. Like, obviously, look into mammals, I don't care. But, like, sometimes it's fun to look into things that you wouldn't normally consider. Alright, lovely. Okay, I think we're safe. Cool. Very cool. Okay, good. Give me that. But, like, especially, a lot of people take invertebrates for granted. So, you know, like, ow! Asshole. But things like, bugs and crabs and fish and other invertebrates. Well, fish are vertebrates, but, you know, non-mammalian stuff. Alright, lovely. Okay, this planet has just really wanted to make me have to build to keep myself safe, rather than just giving me areas that are easier to handle. Okay, I can't remember. I think those guys are nice. Alright, hey Scabrun. Ow. Alright, lovely. Let's see. Oh, mean bird. Never mind. Are you mean? Or are you just stuck? Okay, you can tell me. Yes, you're mean. Okay, gotcha. Got 3 of them. Okay, cool. Alrighty, lovely. And hell, you may even find me, or some of my old posts there. Yeah. Alright, lovely. I believe I am the only Eurasian J on the site, in terms of, like, who was active at the time of the last time I saw, so if you see someone talking about Eurasian J's, it's probably me. Alright, into a barren biome, which normally I would hate, but thankfully it gives us a break. Oh god. There we go. Better. Better. Ooh, a high-level village. I've already probably scanned everything here, so it's fine. Let's see. Yep, we already know that. Sure. I already know that, because literally that's the one we just encountered. Okay, what's your quest, bud? No, I really don't want to go back through the, Ooh. Oh, it's from JoJo's. It actually looks kind of sick, but at the same time it completely destroys our hair, so no. I really do need to try and, like, ad starting in a bit, actually read and/or watch JoJo's. But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. Because I worry if I don't like it, then it'll kind of destroy some of the fun of, like, seeing it, you know? But at the same time, I enjoy watching people enjoy what they like, you know? I don't know. I don't know. God damn it, no. Because, like, I am one of those people who, even with things that I actively hate, like, I'm just gonna bring up, The Helliverse, by Vivian Madrano, is something that I've talked about multiple times, that I actively don't like it. However, I love watching people who love it, like, interact with what they enjoy. You feel me? Which is why I always make sure that, like, anything I do that is critical of it, I either give, like, plentiful warning, or, I'll, how do I phrase it? Because usually I do it on Tumblr where it's easiest to do this. I will not tag it with the actual show and put it just in critical tags. And I always put it behind one of the things you could do on Tumblr. They're usually referred to as read mores or cuts, but they're a little link you can put in so that people actively have to click into it to read the rest of what you're saying. And it's just basically one of those things where I'm like, if you choose to go in here, and there is something in here that upsets you, you made the decision to go in here. You do not have to read this. But, like, I do that because I don't want to ruin people's good time. Because if people are, like, just enjoying their show, I don't care. Like, the way I phrase it is I'm not going to go into their sandbox and kick sand in their face. Just because they are playing with their toys, you know? Like, if they're throwing sand at me, sure, then it's fucking game on. And by that, I don't mean just showing me stuff. I mean, like, actively going out of their way to, like, go after people. There is a difference. But yeah, even if I don't like something, I will be able to find some joy in watching others find joy in it. Or if I don't, I just block them. If it irritates me that much, I either block the term or, you know, rarely block the person, but that usually doesn't happen. It's usually I'll just, block the terms, that they use for their tags. But yeah, it's whatever. Alright, let's see. Very good, very good. Because I'm also very much a person who, like, even though, like, earlier I said, the His Dark Materials from the 2000s is shit, I don't care. You're allowed to like it. Like, I am not going to tell you you're, like, a fake fan or whatever for enjoying it. I just actively think it's bad and want to give other options, right? Like, that's generally the... Oh, this is not gonna be fun. That is generally where I like to be as somebody who criticizes stuff is, you know, I don't like it, I'm not going to pretend that I like it, and I'm not going to, like... As long as it is still enjoyable to talk about what I don't like about it, because there is fun to be had in criticizing things, right? I'm not gonna stop doing that, but I will not intentionally hurt people over it. You feel me? It's kind of like, how... So, one of the things you have to know about me is I got into Star Wars kind of, not in reverse. Like, I watched the prequel trilogy when they came out in theaters. So I did watch them as a kid, but I was a Star Trek guy, so I rewatched all of them in one go as an adult, and I am one of the people, I'm gonna say a fucking controversial opinion. This is not me telling you you're wrong for thinking any other way that I do, or whatever. Or that, like, you have to think the way I do. But from a perspective of someone coming from the outside in, the sequel films, other than probably the third one, are objectively stronger than the prequel films, again, other than the third one. Uh, and I think a lot of why people have suddenly started being really kind to the prequels, because it used to be, I remember you used to get fucking flayed alive if you said you liked the prequels at all. I was there, I remember it. But, the reason I think people are so positive now is they want to find a reason to make the sequels look worse. Or people who enjoy the sequels, I should say. Because whenever people talk about, oh, what's the worst fandom, and Star Wars is not the answer, I'm like, okay, it's Star Wars, but... but, I don't mind people saying that they don't like the sequels or whatever movies, as long as they don't act like you cannot be a real fan if you like them. Because to me, the writing and character decisions in the first two of the sequel films, mostly, I have issues. Don't let this make you think that I don't have issues with it. Are significantly stronger than the writing and character decisions in the prequel films, especially poor Padme. Can we talk about how Padme actually is a really good character, but every time they remember she has to be in love with Anakin, they literally, like, give her a lobotomy. And I feel like the prequels have always been saved by the Clone Wars cartoon. But yeah, I don't want to get into, like, super nitty-gritty. But again, I have no issue with people not liking the sequels. I have an issue with people saying you're not allowed to like the sequels. That's the fucking difference, okay? Just like people are allowed to like whatever the fuck they like. Anyway, it's fine. Earth's emergency broadcast. SOS, save our species. Earth is under attack from an unidentified organism. Destruction is imminent. Evacuation is impossible with no major settlements off-planet. If you are a human receiving this broadcast, we are now an endangered species. The future of the Terran Protectorate is in your hands. Anyway. I think we've... No, we haven't found this. Off-Earth Human Census, volume blah, blah, blah. Schedule number, I'm not going to read all these numbers. System, Miasmafen, Mismafen. Planet, Mismafen 3. Settlement, Rubywood. 2 families equaling 4 people total. Schedule, whatever. On the next planet on Miasmafen. Rumors of human habitation incorrect. Schedule, blah, blah, and blah, blah. 1 family equaling 2 people total. Final total of humans dwelling off of Earth. Oh god, let's see if I can read this properly. 15,802,433. I'm just going to read the number again outright just because I know I'm bad at reading numbers. 15802433. Total humans leading nomadic existence unknown. Alright, lovely, beautiful. I don't need that. Scan it, though. And yeah, for some reason there's a lot of Apex stuff in the prison facility. I'm not inherently sure why. Wait a second. But yeah, there is a reason there is not many human settlements, and it's because the implication is that humans just did not like building off Earth for whatever reason. So that's kind of where that comes in to play. Alright. Ah! I wasted every single one of those jumps. Hey, bud. I'll deal with you later. I think there's another one up here. Maybe? Nope, never mind. I lied to you all. Ah, Jesus! Hi, buddy pal. Yeah, because she knew we were up here, she was able to open that door and come through. Because they won't open a door if they don't know that there's something in there. But they will if they do. Alright, lovely. Yellow. Or rather, they won't intentionally open it. They may just open it for shits and gigs, but they won't do it on purpose. Also, fun fact, the first, like, 10 or 15 times that I found one of these, I only ever found, women. So I was convinced that they were always women's correctional facilities. Don't ask me why. So the first time I found, a guy in one, I was like, huh? Genuinely confused. Hey, honey, come here. Alright, lovely. Okay, that's empty. Let's see what we got. Sure. No. Take that away. Sure, sure. 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 Okay, nothing in here. Also, this is where you can scan a lot of the stuff that is guaranteed to be humid. Okay, cool. Alright, lovely. Lovely, beautiful. I don't really need those anymore. Okay, I am surprised I've scanned that oil barrel before. I didn't think I would have. Where have I scanned that oil barrel? Okay, you know what? It doesn't really matter. You could also scan the graffiti on the wall. Like so. Oh, hang on. Alright, cool, cool. Alright, hey, howdy, hey, up there. Alright, lovely, beautiful, let's go. Let's go, come here, you. Come here, you. There we are. And like I said, tomorrow we'll, do the Apex mission. Just so you're awares. Hello. Alright, lovely. Hey, you. Alright, cool. Hey, bud. Come here. Alright, sit down. I see you up there. Sit down. Alright, lovely. What about you, bud? Alright, lovely. Alright, cool. I think we're square here. Oops, I did not mean to randomly flush the toilet. The horrible, disgusting toilet. I like it. Looks like someone had a rough night, is what my moth just said. Upon seeing the toilet. But yeah, the horrible implication here is that these guys were imprisoned before Earth exploded and nobody came back for them. So they've just been having to survive on their own, which is terrible. Alright. Yeah, one of these will always be a different thing to scan because they're broken. So, yeah. Anyway. Hello. Hey, howdy, hey. Alright, beautiful, lovely. Hey, bud. Hey, pally. Alright. Oh, hang on. Hey there. Come here, you two. Alright, cool beans. We are getting there. How you doing? Yeah, those basically work the same as a bed, if I recall correctly. I'm gonna scan these real quick while I'm thinking about it. Oh, hey there. Come here. And then you guys up there. Oh, hang on, there's someone else here. Hold tight. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Hey, buddy pal. Hey, girls. I think actually one of them might be a guy. Okay, doesn't matter. Go get this guy. Hey, buddy. Yeah, regrettably, prisons are gigantic. So they're gonna take you a hot minute to get through. Okay, we've already got that. Alright, let's see. Sure. Oh, hello. Ah, this is the propaganda poster. Humans must organize to overcome the menace that plagues us. We must fight the verminous races that infest our universe. Whilst you sit complacent, these vile creatures corrupt our homes. Humans unite, join the Ocassus, wear the purple hood. So this is, Vox's, little cult thing. Alright, lovely. Oakley dokley. There we go. Alright, let's see. Should be... Yep, there you are. I was gonna say there should be at least a few more. This is the main cell block, by the way. So this is gonna be the biggest room that you have to deal with. Hey, buddy. Would you like to get up? Okay. Felt a little bad about that one. Alright, key of the Duke Nukem hair. Alright, lovely. There's 3 of you in here. I wasn't expecting 3. Get out of here. Alright, lovely. Oh, hey, buddy. Back up, back up, back up. Alright, let's see. Nothing in here. Nope, hello. Come here, you. Sit down. Ow. Stop that. Get out of here, you. Alright. No. I mean, I will see if I can scan anything. Alright, lovely. I don't think that they meant to write... Okay, I don't think it's meant to be blood, at least originally, and if it is, that's a little funny. I am one of those people where, like, obviously it is just purely, like, me, you know, bitching about things that don't matter. But I've always found it really annoying where, when something is implied to have been written in blood, and it's old, they never remember the fact that, you know, blood dries. And it does so very, very quickly, too. Like, I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, come on, man. Alright, cool. Hey there, buddy. Alright, good, good, good. Yeah, this is actually a really fun place that if you clear it out to turn into a, colony, just because there's a lot of rooms that you don't need to worry about that are already set up. Alright, lovely. Especially if you want to just make a really easy human colony. Alright, lovely. Lovely, lovely. Actually, let's see if we scan this. Okay, cool. Cool, cool beads. And I'm pretty sure we scanned the side, yes. Oh, hey there, buddy. There are 2 of them there. Okay, good. Good, good, good. Yeah, if you could get a decent enough distance between you and them, they're really not that horrific. Alright, well, that's the end, so we're just gonna go mess with the... That's not where I wanted. I have one that needs to go into my Apex bookshelf. This one. And then the other 2 could go in my human bookshelf. Alright, lovely. Yep. Not for very long, though. We're ending in, 10 minutes or so. I'm good, I'm good. We just went through, and went through a couple other planets, and we're gonna go over to the colony. Oh, how have I not scanned that? Okay, that's fine. Alright, let's go to the colony. But yeah, I'm doing well. Alright, let's see. Let's get us this, and let me hydrate. Alright, cool, 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 cool. Sorry, that was my water cup. Alrighty. Very good, thank you. Now, will you... they're deciding to walk instead of teleport. Of course they are! Alright, lovely. Thank you kindly. Alrighty. But yeah, we'll just collect rent, maybe do a few quests for these guys if they're easy, and then once it hits whatever time, we'll figure out and call that there. Alrighty, lovely. I probably should have emptied out my inventory before we, got started, but that's okay. I don't care that much. Alright, lovely. Come on. There we go. Have I journeyed into the depths of space recently? My dear, I have to do it just to get here. Alright, lovely. One of these days I'll clear this out. But it's fine. Yep, no worries. And I appreciate it. Where is our villager here? Mm-hmm. Alright. But yes, it is good to see you. Okay, good. Thank you. Excuse me? Oh, is this a Splatoon reference? Or no, maybe not. I was just confused because it said the captain. So I was like, Splatoon? Anyway, it's fine. I do not think it is. I think it's a reference to something else. But that's okay. Yep, no worries, mate. Mm-hmm. Alright, lovely. Also, this Florid is really cute as well. Okay, cool. Not as cute as the one that, is right down there, although that one decided to put on a mask, so it's kind of hard to see how extra cute they are, but you know what, it's fine. It's fine. Oh, hang on. There we are, lovely. Okay. Whoops. I am on the wrong aisle. There we go, much better. Much better. Alright, cool beans. It's weird, so many of them had quests when I was here earlier, but they've all changed their mind. Which is fine, I don't care, but it's just a little interesting, you know? Alright, thank you. This is one of my Little in here. Wherever they are. Hello? There you are. God damn it, stop closing doors. Also, sometimes I just put things in places to see what villager it can spawn, even though I could just look it up. And some of them never have anything and they'll just spawn random shit, like the tools and stuff will spawn random shit. This one right here, the workbenches. But I'm too lazy to take the villager out of there. So, I don't care. Alright, lovely. Where's our friend? There you are. Okay, cool. And this one... Alrighty. Very good. Thank you. The spaceman has a quest right now, but I'm not gonna go back up there just to get it. Especially because I do want to clear these out before we do whatever. Because one of the minutiae you can get is certain things will influence not only a pennant species, but also what they are. So if it's something generic, like you put a bunch of human furniture in, but also a chest, that human has the potential to become a merchant, right? And if you put a bunch of avian stuff in, but then put a bunch of stuff that also has the tag of, like, warrior or guard or whatever, like the spear rack, then that can give you a warrior or a guard. Now, certain things will always be guards, like the rainbow rogues will always be guards. The ones that spawn for the, along my upper row, the ones that are like purple and green and whatever that all kind of look vaguely similar, those will always be warriors. But certain things, not so much. You feel me? Anyway, it's fine. Let's see. Hello, Henry. Thank you. Are you gonna... Okay, you're gonna walk here. That's fine. But yeah, like, this spear rack is probably what influences that particular Florin to have a sword. And they can use the sword. He's just choosing not to. Hey, bud. No, not interested in farming quests. Never am, never will be. Alright, lovely. Alright, hello, Henry. You are very cute. Alright, lovely. Where? There they are. And, like, for example, a lot of times those sandstone statues will always spawn those particular kind of merchants. But yeah. Anyway. Alright, thank you. And I haven't fully figured out why certain characters follow you. Some people think it's because you talk to them, but I know I've had ones that started following me that I have not talked to, for sure. So who knows? Who knows? It's fine. And then after we clear this out, we'll go sell a bunch of stuff at the, teleshop. Alright, lovely. Lovely, beautiful. Where are they? I don't think that says... Is this still Ivo? It might still be Ivo. Yes, it's still Ivo. Alright, lovely. Again, I don't have all their names memorized, and sometimes they'll just show them to me. Like, for example, I know the one that's got the room that's pink. This one up here. Or not pink, that it has, like, all the cutesy, girly furniture. His name is Anton, but I think he's the oldest tenant here, because he was here even before... this was where it was, because his was the first room that got overhauled, and then we just moved the rest of the rooms around him. Anyway, it's fine. Alright, lovely. Let's go ahead and go sell this, even though that person has a quest, I don't care. Alright. Let's clear our inventories first. Alright, lovely. Just gonna trash that because I have too many. Nothing's in there. That's fine. Actually, wait. Before we do, let me... Aha! Trash that. Sure, that could come with us. I don't think I have any weapons that I actively want to put away, so no. Same thing with art. Well, actually. No, I don't really want it, honestly. No, I'm not that interested in these. Not that interested. Womp womp. Alright, anything in deco? Nope. Food, yes. Alright, these could go in the trash. And again, I could plant them or have them in a separate chest. I just don't care. I'm already going to be dragging this around with me anyway, so I don't care. Alright. Over to the teleshop. Okay, alright. Let's see. Okay, let's sell you some shit. I should have just sold him the seeds as well. And then we'll, go sell the, or not sell, but take the one SCP that we got over to the facility, because we have a tiny bit of time, we might as well. Alright. And we can scan stuff in here now, if we so choose. But I don't want to get distracted too much. Me. Don't want to get distracted. Me. Continues to let myself get distracted. It's fine. We're fine. Ah! Alright. Good. Let's get this put away. Alrighty. Where is it? It's in here somewhere. Ah! Nope. There it is. Okay. We'll just kick around for a teeny tiny bit more. maybe scan some stuff. Oh, actually, never mind. It is time to go. Anyway, I will see you guys again tomorrow, and we will be doing the Apex quest then. Let me see if anyone's live. Nope. I don't know why no one's live lately. But I will have you guys scatter, and I will see you then. But until then, bye!